And let's just start off by saying today is a day, as our minister reminded us, where we acknowledge America's working people. And that's all of us. This is something that Democrats, Republicans, and independents and no-shows can all agree on. The American economy became the biggest in the world in the 1890s, and 122 years later, we're still the biggest in the world. And it's been because of a lot of things, the rule of law and wonderful entrepreneurs and innovators. But the main reason is because American workers are so very productive. We've got a great workforce in this country, and let's give a big round of applause, all of us, for American working people. I grew up in a manufacturing house. My dad had an ironworking and welding shop. If there was a good year, there might be 7 employees. In a bad year, there would be 4 employees. And my mother and my 2 brothers and me. And we learned that we work together when we work in partnership. It wasn't worker against boss. It wasn't union against management. The business succeeded because everybody worked together, and we got to take that lesson for the nation. In 17 months of statewide campaigning, Virginians want to ask 3 things. How are we going to get the economy growing faster? How are we going to fix the budget? How are we going to work together? I think I offer a choice in this, and I think there's a good choice in this election of different philosophies on those 3 main questions. On getting the economy growing again, I don't think slashing taxes for the wealthiest and slashing regulations is enough to get the American economy growing. We tried that and it didn't work. What we need to do is be solid about the investments we make in small businesses, in infrastructure, roads, bridges, railroad, invest in workforce training and education, and also find that new energy future where we embrace what we have but become the world's innovators in the clean energy industries of tomorrow. Second, Virginians want to know, we got to get this budget balanced. I had a painful experience when I was governor. I was governor in the worst recession since the 1930s. I had to make $5 billion worth of budget cuts, including my own pay, and I ended up leaving office with a smaller general fund budget when I started. I know how to do cuts, and I'll know how to do cuts the right way in Washington. I also know very deeply an all-cut strategy would devastate this nation's economy. It would devastate Medicare. It would devastate defense spending. It would devastate Pell Grants and education. If you're only cutting, you're making a big mistake. We've got to be making investments. And so that's why I propose to balance the budget. Not all cuts, but what we need is we need to make cuts, but we also need to let the Bush tax cuts expire at the top end so that everybody's around the $16 trillion deficit. We don't need to be giving tax breaks to ExxonMobil. We're paying enough at the pump already. Why should we pay the tax breaks? Last, America wants to put people in, and Virginians want to put people in who know how to work together. I grew up in a Republican household. My father-in-law was the first Republican governor of Virginia in the modern era. I was a city councilman and mayor in Richmond where we ran nonpartisan. We knew who the Democrats and the Republicans were, but it didn't make a difference because unless our voters could see, touch it, and feel it, the letter after your name didn't matter in terms of whether you were going to be viewed as a good public servant or not. When I was in statewide office for 8 years, 6 of the 8 years, both houses were Republican. 2 of the years, I had 1 house each. But when I was governor, we were best state for business in America all 4 years, best managed state in America, best state to raise a child, and that was because we knew how to work together, Democrats and Republicans, legislature and governor, not agreeing all the time, because we're not going to agree all the time, but even when we disagree, we can be friends, we can still listen to each other. If we disagree on something, then we wake up tomorrow and we find something else we can agree about, and that's what I'm going to take. We don't need more name-calling, we don't need more division, we don't need more strategies that hold people back. We got to lift people up and lift this country up. Last thing I'll say is this. I want to thank everybody who's here of either party for participating. I worry, I'm an optimistic person. I don't worry about a lot, but I do have a couple of them. And when it comes to politics, I worry that there really are people who believe that you can give enough money secretly and you can run enough negative ads without saying who the donors are, that you can make grassroots people irrelevant. There are people who believe that the negative ads on TV will make the parades irrelevant, and the volunteers irrelevant, and the yard signs irrelevant, and the phone calls irrelevant, and the canvassing irrelevant. I'm here to tell you that no matter how many zeros anybody can put on the end of a check to a super PAC, it's you that still matter. It's the grassroots that still matter. I learned this as a missionary in Honduras, a nation that was a military dictatorship. No one could vote for president in that country. And believe me, I learned how valuable it is what we have in this country with traditions like this wonderful Labor Day event in Buena Vista. Thanks so much for being here. Please do me a favor. When George Allen speaks, treat him with the same respect that his folks treated me during my speech. Please do that. Thanks and have a great day.
Okay. We're going to move right along, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mark and Tim. Okay.